Run, river, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me. Run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have right here in Massachusetts, Central Mass, we have Jean Grant. She's back again, an encore appearance. She's the author of, this time, 100 Breaths. And if you can zero in on this, is that a Viking ship on there?
It is, yes.
Briefly, let the viewers know what this is about.
Oh, briefly. So it takes place in the 12th century, no, 1200s.
The 1200s?
Scotland. And there's a Viking ship. So we have Scottish folks. We have Vikings, which back then they called them the Norse, the Old Norse, or the Nordmen. And we have a little bit of mystery and magic, a little paranormal element.
Fantasy.
Yes, a little bit of fantasy. I really play it up in this book.
His soul might be lost, but the mystical healer he kidnaps from the Isles. Those are the Isles in Scotland?
Yes, the Western Isles.
The Western ones, okay, because my family, Lewis, there is the Isles of Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay,
This isle is Uist. U-I-S-T. It's south of Lewis and Harris.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Harris is right. Okay.
Yep.
But the mystical healer he kidnaps from the Isles could be the answer for his ailing mother and her heart. And what was that? What happened there?
So, well, his mother is sick, and there's a backstory there, so we don't want to give that away. But this Scotsman, his name is Simon, and he really hates the Vikings. And the Vikings have been hanging out on these Western Isles for centuries, and we're reaching the end of the Viking Age. And so this culminates with a big battle at the end of Scot against Viking. But when he discovers that this woman, who is a daughter of a rival Viking group, has healing powers, he kind of goes along with his father's plan that maybe we should marry her and they're causing some more war between the groups. But then he realizes she has magical powers, and he's tried everything that man has given him to help heal his mother, but maybe this healer actually has the healing touch.
You know, what right now seems to be really hot, and you're right up there with it, is fantasy. Sci-fi fantasy. Sounds to me this has also got some history in it.
Yeah, I really love history. I was inspired by Diana Gabaldon and her Outlander series.
Okay, yeah.
She writes 800-page books, and there's a lot of history in her books.
Don't the young adults love that, too, don't they?
Everybody does, yeah.
Oh,
young,
God.
old.
Yeah.
She's been around for a while, and it's a big series, and she has all these spin-offs. I really love history, and so I spend a lot of time plotting and figuring out the timeline and the history and what's going on. And then I throw the romance in there.
Then you throw This was in 1263, Scotland. My gosh, that was a long time ago. Are you part Scottish?
No.
No.
I did a recent DNA test. You know, you could do the little swab. I'm not, but my husband is, so the last name Grant, there's a lot of Scottish on his side.
Simon McConaughey.
Yeah, it's a funny last name.
That's now she was on before, and you had been on with, was it The Rise from the Ashes? Was it that one?
No, well, Rise from Ashes is another new one. This is the one that I was on with
Which
before.
one were you on? You may
That's
remember
the
it.
other book.
Okay, this one was the 100 Kisses. God, who does your? It's like a series. Who does your covers?
So it's through the publisher. The publisher is the Wild Rose Press, and my cover artist, her name is Debbie Taylor, and she's phenomenal. And so once you get a cover artist, and then you can request them again, and they'll do the same ones that are in a series.
She's nailed it.
Yeah,
she really has nailed it. It's got the castle on the top. I had forgotten that one. And then when I saw this, I thought, okay, definitely, this has got to be Vikings.
Yeah, I really wanted the water on the cover and a Viking ship.
Is this now? You're gonna continue in this genre, right?
Well, I have a third one I'm writing right now. So this is turning into a trilogy. Originally, I wrote 100 Kisses a couple years ago. To be a standalone book.
Yeah.
But then people are like, where's the sequel?
Yeah.
And then what came to me was actually the prequel, the book that takes place before 100 Kisses. So this is 30 years before that one. But they're all standalone, so you could read the books on their own. And like a good standalone book, or you could read them in order, you could read them out of order.
Yeah.
And so I'm writing the third book, so I'll wrap it up. I'll try to tie up all the mystical elements and have another happy ever after.
And then what's after that?
So after that, so I'm taking a little break with the historical, and I have some contemporary work that I'm working on.
Like mysteries?
One is a novella that I was telling you a little bit about. It's a contemporary romance, part of a series put out by the publisher. And then I have a women's fiction book. That's this one. That's the Will Rise from Ashes.
Yeah.
So this is contemporary women's fiction. And that one comes out in a few weeks.
Oh, so it's not quite out yet.
Not quite out yet. You have a pre-printed copy right there in your hands.
All right. Today we're talking about 100 Breaths, and now the one that's coming right out, well, this week, right?
The 17th.
The 17th, Will Rise from the Ashes. Now, what's that about?
So that one is, it's women's fiction, and it was a step away from romance. And the main difference is that women's fiction does not have to have a happy ever after, does not have to have a romantic element, although this one does have a romantic subplot. But it focuses on a woman's emotional journey.
Yeah.
And it could be historical, it could be contemporary. In this case, it's a mother's journey. She's a widow, a younger widow, with her autistic son. And it takes place, I love to throw a lot of science and history in there. This one has a lot of science. It takes place right after the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts.
Yeah.
So we have a natural disaster, we have a mother with her child, and her other child is missing.
Oh, geez.
So she goes on a road trip, and she needs to get to her other son.
And her son is 9 years old, and he is autistic.
Yeah.
Will,
yes. And so hence the name Will Rise from Ashes.
I hear, like, if you catch autism early enough, like at least by 18 months, that child has a darn good chance. My son has he just turned 6. And I noticed at 18 months, I would go, Wally. Now, most kids that was one of the first symptoms. He was off in his own world. He would not even acknowledge one. And so I told my son and the mom, I said, look, not interfering here, but I said, I think I'm noticing something here. Just, you might want to have it looked into.
Right.
They did. He had help. He was just a little dude. They'd have service help come in and help, and educational, that type of thing with him for quite a while. Anyway, long story short, he is now in regular school and doing great.
Yeah.
They caught it.
They do say, they can do diagnoses as early as 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So Will is inspired by my own son, who is now almost 12.
And he's autistic.
And he is high-functioning autism. Now, it is a spectrum, and so a lot of people don't like to say high or low. Formerly diagnosed as Asperger's syndrome, or Asperger's. And so he was diagnosed in 1st grade, which is still early. But a lot of times, some of those quirks and differences or challenges you see as a parent, you're like, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. But he's had a lot of intervention and help, and he's really thriving and having a great time in school.
Yes, definitely. This little kid is, he's amazing. I mean, the turnaround, and no more tantrums, and, we really couldn't understand what is wrong. But I was picking up on it. He's not acknowledging it when I call his name. I've never seen that in my family before. So I thought, I think you better, it'd be nice to look into it, give the kid a break. And he wears glasses because he's got a little eye that kind of was going like this. So he looks like Mr. Peabody. So this was inspired by your own son.
Yeah.
And it's called Will Rise, his name is Will in the story, Rise from Ashes. We're talking with Jean Grant. And Jean is the author of not only this is the newest one. She's been on before too. This one is 100 Breaths, the Vikings, and how can they go about getting your books?
Well, the best way, I'm everywhere. I'm all over social media, but the best way is to go to my website. It's really easy to find. It's jeanmgrant.com. And on my website, you can find links to Twitter and Facebook and even email me.
Now, she's done a great job with these postcards. And there's one called Soul of the Storm, Will Love Help Her Summit One Last Peak? Dearborn Inn. Now that's online. That's the ebooks, right?
That's an ebook, yes.
What's that story about?
So that book, and that one came out in March. I did not plan all these books coming out so quickly on top of each other, but that's just kind of how publishing works. So this one is part of a series, and so my publisher had put out a call to all of the authors about a little over a year ago, and they said, look, we're going to come up with this really cool series. It takes place in Vermont at this place called the Dearborn Inn, and it's a collaborative effort. So what they do is they create this fictional town and all these characters, and they create a Bible so to speak, is what they call it, of all the characters. And so you can put in your story idea, see if your editor likes it, and then you work with the other authors to overlap characters and elements. And it was really fun to work with a lot of other authors, and they're all novella length, so they're all shorter. This one's about 150 pages, and they're all as ebook.
Soul of the Storm. Now, when did this come out?
So that came out March 20th.
March. Okay. Oh, yeah. You wrote it on
Yes.
the back. March 20th. You have been a busy girl. How are you getting these out so quickly? How long does it take you to write a book?
It takes me a while. Well, so
5 minutes.
Yeah, no, not that quickly. Well, it depends on the book. My first book took me years before I got a publisher, and so while that one was going through the publication queue, which takes like a good long year to edit, get your cover art and all that, I started writing. What was I writing? I was writing Will Rise from Ashes at the time.
Yeah.
That one took me a long time to write. It took over a year to write, another year to edit. I had tried sending it to some agents for some bigger publishing houses because I knew that my publisher primarily did romance, but they also published mystery and suspense and other works. And so that was about a year ago. I said, you know what? I'm going to see if my editor wants this book.
Yeah.
And I sent it to her. She loved it. At the same time, I heard about the novella series, and I'm like, oh, I have a really cool idea. I'm going to write a Soul of the Storm. And I wrote that one pretty quick, a couple of months, and then editing over a couple of months.
So now this one is coming out very quickly, within a week or so.
Yes.
Okay. Will Rise from the Ashes. And if you have a child out, a child who's autistic, I mean, it's going to resonate. This sounds.
It's told from two point of views. It's told from the mother's point of view, but I also have scenes from Will's point of view.
Yeah, if you're a grandma or a mom with an autistic child in the family, I can't. Now what's coming after this? Oh, you're going to switch.
I'm writing and I'm on a little break. Well, 100 breaths took me probably 6 months to a year to write.
That's fast.
So I'm writing the third one in that series, and that's probably going to take me up to 6 months to a year.
When did you start writing? How many years ago?
I started writing 20 years ago. But I didn't, and I wrote about 3 practice novels that never made it to print over those 20 years while going to college and graduate school and raising children and going to work. And so not until about 4 or 5 years ago was I really getting serious, and I'm like, I really want these published. I had tried, and I had honed my craft.
So you were writing before college?
Right around like age 20, I started.
So where'd you go to school?
Kutztown University.
Where is that?
Pennsylvania.
What's it called?
Kutztown.
Kutztown.
It's a very German.
Kutztown. What did you major? Let me guess. Literary science or no?
Oh, science.
Science.
Science. Yes, I have degrees in biology and marine science, and then I went to graduate school and I have degrees in microbiology and immunology.
And you're an author as well.
Yeah, I always loved writing too. My mom was a poet and an artist, so I have that science half of me, and then I have that writer half. So for years I was doing science and raising kids, but writing in my free time, hobby.
In your free time, but now is it your full-time?
It's full time. Yep.
It's full time. So what did you do? Did you teach science in school for a while?
No, I was just a researcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Research, medical, or just?
Medical, preclinical, and clinical.
That is
research.
so different from the writing and all.
Yeah. So I knew how to write science. So it took some time to really write artistically and practice writing novels. Yeah.
Where have you been appearing, Jean?
Well, you're my first big stop for these, but I'm going to have some local library signings and at some coffee shops. I'm going to be at the Worcester Library.
Don't forget Tatnock in Westboro.
I have been there. Yep. For the previous book, I'm trying to get into the Boston Library. It's a little harder to get in there.
There's a new one over in Sutton Bookstore.
Yeah.
They'll take mainly children, but they'll take just about any of the authors. I send a lot of my authors. That's what I do, all over the lot.
Yeah.
So it's great to get out there. I can't stress it enough. If you're an author, just don't sit there
Just
and
go
depend.
out.
Don't
Senior
depend on
centers,
Amazon.
too.
You got to get out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of local word of mouth, and it's great. And I make all these postcards, and I have friends throughout the country, and so I send them postcards. And so you want to get your street team, is what they call them.
Yes.
So you have friends in California or Florida or Pennsylvania, or wherever, and then they can tell their friends. And what's also great is getting these books in libraries. It's really easy to get a book in a library. You just have to go to the librarian and request books. And they can either get them through Amazon or through their own library system.
Right. Now, are you going to be donating one or two downstairs to the
I
Authors
am.
Wall?
I brought a few here to give to them downstairs.
Now, the Authors Wall, for people who live here in town or the area, has moved. When you walk into the Upton Library, it used to be over on the left. Go down right through to the end of the library. There's a couple of quiet rooms down there, conference rooms. Take the one on the right, and they have the bookshelf for local authors there. So if you've been looking for it, it hasn't vanished. It's just kind of relocated. So it's there, definitely there.
Yeah.
It's great for the authors to do that because somebody watches the show, they come in and they're going to say, I wanted a copy of
That book, yeah.
Jean Grant's book, and oh yes, we
Yeah.
go right down the hall. Do you do that at the other libraries too?
I do. Well, I donated to a local library, and then if it gets into the MCAS system,
Yeah.
and then you can get interlibrary loan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So I do my best to be at local libraries, and then I have another event that I'm coordinating with another local author, and it's going to be at a church in Worcester, and we're going to have about a dozen different authors come together.
When is this and what is this?
So this, we're going to call it the Living Library, and it will be May 19th in the afternoon.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Sunday, so it's going to be after church. It's at a church.
Okay. The living what now?
Living Library.
Okay.
And it's at Wesley United Methodist
Wesley?
Church.
What street is that on?
Main Street. Main Street,
Oh,
Worcester.
the big one.
There's a couple of big ones there, but it's a big gray one. Yeah, it's like 100-year-old church.
On Main Street in Worcester.
Yep, May 19.
What time?
12:30
Till.
till like 3.
And how many authors?
We have like 12 right now lined up. We're hoping for 15, and we have authors across genres. We have nonfiction,
Yeah.
fiction, romance.
I love it.
Everything.
Oh, I think that is so great. I know a lot of the libraries will sometimes have, I know up here in Milford, they love authors. They'll have sometimes just one if you want to be focused, or they'll have 3. And they
I
each
like
take
group events.
Yeah, they each do that. Hopedale does that. I love it.
Yeah.
You get to see different.
It's nice getting to know other authors in the area. They all kind of pop out of the woodwork.
Have you heard of the huge, that Rhode Island, I can't think of the name of the roads,
On the road.
on the road,
The
artists,
roads on the something.
roads on the Pawtucket. And
Oh,
it's
no.
the huge writers group in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Every year they have a huge, my God, there were 130-something authors. I thought it was overwhelming. But when I talk with an author who thinks that, it was here. We didn't even stay the full time I usually do because I couldn't possibly talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting there. They'd love to talk with you, especially if they know that you've got the show and you can have them on. It's like, oh boy, here we go,
Yeah.
But there's a great one over in every year in July at Danversport, the New England Authors Expo.
Ooh.
And he also now,
When is that, in the summer?
that's in July.
July, okay.
And also, I think he's doing one in December coming up too. It seems like
Ooh.
he's doing 2 now. It's in a huge ballroom. It's actually gorgeous, the
Yeah.
one in July,
Okay.
in a yacht club.
Well, you'll have to fill me in more on that. Give
Oh,
me
yeah.
some
It-
information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a nice, quiet, and a lot of authors will say, well, I didn't sell anything, or I sold one. I said, bring someone with you, not just so you can go to the bathroom, but so you can walk around,
Yeah.
carry your book, get to know the other authors, because all it takes is one who says, gee, I know of a few places who would love to have you come.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. Your day was not wasted.
It's networking. It really
Yeah,
is.
it
And
is.
I've been to a lot of writers' conferences that are we're not really selling the books, but it's the conferences where you are connecting with other authors,
Yeah.
agents, and there's sessions. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
really a great experience.
What do you enjoy the most, libraries or other types of places to go?
I like libraries.
You like that?
Coffee shops. I like coffee.
Yeah, I didn't know. I heard of a place in Sturbridge that was doing that. Well, I just wouldn't. Coffee shops, even Starbucks.
I know a couple of coffee shops in Sturbridge. Yeah. I'm gonna go to a coffee shop in Holden.
Mhm.
Yeah, like small town. I'm looking at another one in Princeton. I'm gonna probably go there.
So the coffee shops are getting in on this.
It is, and well, you're supporting a local business. I like Starbucks, but I like to go to local coffee shops, and I like to go to local bookstores.
Sure.
I will go and shop Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and but it's great to support them. So they get publicity, you get publicity, you
But
get to
how
meet
do-
people in the area.
How do they feel? How do they do it? Because usually a coffee shop.
Well, for those, it's just me and I sit at a table and I have coffee and people come in and we talk and I might sell some books. And
Okay, so you don't give a presentation.
No presentation. No, it's more of a meet and greet. You hang out.
Oh, I like that
Yes,
too.
less stress for people. Some places, you can do a presentation.
Yes.
Libraries are where you tend to do more of those.
Got to get you over to Tatnook
Okay.
in Westboro because you have a choice. You can either just meet and greet. They put a table not far from the checkout counter.
Yeah.
People can walk by, or you can have. I've presented in there. There's a big room in the back just
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And you can say, no, I'd like to be in the back room. It's really, and then they always have posted when you walk in, who's coming up.
Nice.
We're talking with Jean Grant, and she has written 100 Breaths, and she also has one just coming out called Will Rise from the Ashes. Where do you get these great ideas? It just comes to you?
Yeah, I think, well, a lot of authors, sometimes you're afraid you might run out of ideas.
Oh, never,
But
no.
I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas.
I don't think so.
I mean, there's some authors who have 60 or 100 books.
Yep.
They come to you. I really don't know where any specific idea started.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it starts, a seed's planted, and then, while you're driving or you're in the shower or
write
you're
down a
hanging
note.
out, ideas start to just come to you, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that would be great. And I kind of have another book idea, and this one is more mainstream or women's fiction, and that idea has been sitting there because I don't know what to do with it. And the other night I was driving home from somewhere, and I'm like, ooh, aha, and I had some ideas, so I came home and just jotted them down.
Do you ever keep like the pad of paper beside you in the car? Just
I do, yeah, or
Bad time.
or I can text, not while driving, but like if I'm stopped somewhere, you can text yourself a note. Oh, here's an idea. But I have paper in my purse, and I'm always writing things down.
Now, your next appearance coming up is where? The next one?
Okay, after this, where am I? I'm going to be, my library event in Rutland.
In the Rutland Library.
Rutland Library, that's on May 4th. I'm
What-
also going to be at the Rutland, the Senior Center Recreational Area. I forget what they call it now.
Like a community
It's
hall.
the community center. Yes, it's
That's
the
what we
community
have.
center and senior center. And so during the day, there's a senior center there, and so that'll be April 22nd at 10.
Okay. At 10.
Yeah.
What days of the week are those?
So
Weekday?
that one's a weekday.
Yeah.
But all the other events are Saturdays.
Saturday. Are
Yeah.
you in any writers groups up your way?
I go to a writers group in Sturbridge.
You go all the way from where you are down
Yes,
to
down to
Sturbridge?
Sturbridge. Yes.
That's a hike, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that far of a drive. I only go twice a month.
Yeah.
And again, I found out about this writers group. We're a smaller group.
Yeah.
At any point, we have like 3 to 8 of us get together. And again, we write across genres. And
And it's not, you don't find anything closer to where you are.
there are definitely some closer, but this one was through friends.
Yeah.
And people I knew at my church as well. And so they just connected me with this
A
group.
lot of authors don't realize that the senior centers are really a great place to present. They read too.
Yeah, they
You
really
know?
do enjoy books. And
Yeah,
they have book
and they'll just
clubs.
say to me, "Oh no, they would be bored with my book or whatever." I'm like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
She went to one, and she says, "I sold 15 books."
Yeah.
I said, "I told you."
They like to read. Everybody likes to read.
Exactly, and we were kidding about in the beginning. I'm not into the, what do you call it, the e-pad.
E-books.
I want to feel it. I want to feel that.
It
book.
takes some time to get used to. I like all three. I like a print book, and I tend to get my books from the library. If you're on a budget, the library is your friend.
Yeah.
They can get almost any book if you want it.
Order it right in the system.
They can order it and get it. So I really do love to read one in print because I'm on the computer so much for work.
Yeah.
But I do read a lot of ebooks, and I like audiobooks. I'm listening to one right now in the car.
You like that?
Yeah.
That would drive me cuckoo.
Well, like if I'm driving and if I know where I'm going and I'm in my zone, it's fine. Like when I was driving here and I had to make some turns, I'd have to mute the book a little bit to pay attention.
Yeah.
But it's really nice audiobooks. The narrator, if they have such a great voice, I mean, they're voice artists.
Yeah.
And they just draw you in.
And they got you in.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I'm so sunk on reading. I'll be
I
reading
know.
1 or 2 in the morning. I love it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's the only time I find if you start late at night. Are you a late night writer or?
Oh,
early
I'm a
morning?
morning, 5 a.m.
Oh, another one.
I'm
How
on-
do you do it?
I'm on Twitter with the 5 a.m. Writers Club at 5 every morning. But then I crash by 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I like the morning because my kids are not awake yet.
Yeah, got to go to school though.
They're
right?
still sleeping. I got to get them off to school.
Yeah.
I've always been an early bird, even as a teenager. I just like the morning. And I have one friend, she loves to really write at night, and so that's her time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy if I get to sleep by 1 or 2 o'clock. If nothing's planned, I'm good till noon.
Yeah.
I'm just like a teenager. I've never
Yeah.
been any different than that.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got this thing that as the years go by, don't need as much sleep. What?
You need more sleep.
I still need about at least 9 hours, like I did as a kid. Are you the same way? Once you get it, the sleep.
Well, through the child rearing years, I learned to get less and less sleep. I used to need 8 to 9 hours, and now I'm okay on 6.
6? I would probably be
I prefer.
ill.
That's how I used to be. I really would get sick if I got too little. And I
Yeah.
think my kids, I mean, now my children are almost 10 and almost 12. And so they sleep better now. But through those young years when your kids are getting up and fussy, you learn to kind of just get naps during the day. And
Are they reading your books?
no, well, mine are a little too grown up for them.
Right.
But I tell them about my books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, which one are you working on now?
Yeah.
And so I tell them a bit about them.
Well, we're talking again with Jean Grant. We've got to close, but again, Jean, how can they get your book? 100 Breaths and Coming Up Will Rise from the Ashes.
Well, they could go to my website is the easiest way, jeanmgrant.com. And everything's on Amazon. You can just look up my name on Amazon, and it will. I have an author page, and so you can find all my books there. And I'm pretty much everywhere else. I'm on Barnes & Noble. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on iTunes. Google Books, I mean everywhere. But
Yeah.
I mean most people their first stop is Amazon.
Do you usually present just here in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I have not gone out of state anywhere.
I get my authors out of Rhode Island, Connecticut, all over New
Yeah.
England.
I like to go up to Maine. My relatives
Yeah.
are living in Maine and New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And so maybe I need to try some places up there.
Oh, fun! Yeah, we had an author drive all the way down here from Maine to
Yeah.
talk about her book.
Oh, wow.
We've had we have a New York stage director when he's up in the Boston area. He's on the show, Jim Nicola. Hello, Jim, James, and he's a poet,
Yeah.
and he will sit right there and act out his poems.
Oh, wow.
He's pretty amazing.
I have
too.
a few poets in my writers group. They're really talented.
And your mom was a poet.
She was a poet.
And an
yeah.
artist.
And an artist.
What kind of artist was she?
Color pencil.
Oh,
So not paints.
So she knew how to shade.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Her
tried.
work
I
is
took a
beautiful.
course in that. I get a little bit nudgy.
Yeah.
I want to just go with it.
Yeah.
You know, not worry too much. That's exciting. Well, we're going to have you back now. The next one.
This
well,
is it for now.
This is it for now.
But I need to promote them all this summer. But
Right.
you know, there'll be another one in another year, I'm sure.
Well, let me know.
Yeah.
We'll have you back. Don't forget to visit downstairs.
Yes.
All right.
I will.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very
We'll
much
see
for
you
having
next
me.
time.
Yes. Thanks.
Take care.